10 years ago, I had this list in my head. I never dreamt that I'd get to the end of that list. So I've decided to end my River Monsters journey.
At 69, Jeremy Wade just revealed the real reason River Monsters was canceled. And it's worse than anyone thought. Jeremy described creatures that dragged swimmers underwater and never let them go. In a case like a detective story, he interviewed witnesses, he gathered evidence. Then he tried to catch these fish to study them. He never made things more dramatic than they really were. River Monsters became a huge hit immediately. By the end of the first season, it was Animal Planet's most popular show. Over 1.3 million people watched each episode in America alone. Viewers loved Wade's calm way of solving mysteries, but even during this early success, Wade was seeing something terrible. He kept secret notes about what he found in these rivers. The water was getting dirtier. There were fewer fish. The environment was being destroyed. Wade wrote it all down, but he didn't tell anyone. By 2011, the show was filming in even more dangerous places. They went to Alaska and the Mekong River in Asia. These weren't just pretty locations. They were extremely dangerous. The crew had to carry heavy equipment through thick jungle. Sometimes it took days just to reach the fishing spots. Getting to these remote rivers was getting harder and more expensive. Each episode now cost over $500,000 to make. The crew worked 14-hour days in terrible heat, rain, and cold. They ate bad food and barely slept. Many crew members were getting sick and exhausted. Wade himself was getting older and weaker. He was in his 60s and his body couldn't handle the stress like before. But the worst part was the danger. Wade almost died several times during filming, and he kept it secret from fans. In the Congo, Wade got malaria so bad he nearly died. "It's something that kills people every day," Wade later said. "I very nearly joined them." In the Amazon, giant arapaima fish hit him so hard in the chest that he felt pain for 6 weeks. "That fish basically hit me like a horse," Wade remembered. The crew also faced deadly situations. During one shoot, lightning struck a sound crew member. The bolt burned his legs badly and scared everyone. Wade called it one of their closest calls ever. "It reminded us that we weren't invincible," he said. Wade also had a terrifying encounter with an electric eel. While diving underwater, the eel could have shocked him with 500 volts. In water, that much electricity means drowning. "That wasn't just scary, it was almost the end," Wade admitted. These near-death experiences were happening more often. The crew was working in more dangerous places to find new monsters. Several longtime crew members quit after season 7 in 2015. They couldn't handle the stress and danger anymore. But viewers at home never saw any of this. The episodes looked perfect, beautiful filming, exciting catches, and Wade's calm narration. The editing hid all the injuries, exhaustion, and near-death experiences. Wade and his team were suffering in silence. By 2015, Wade had documented over 100 species of dangerous freshwater fish. He had visited rivers on every continent. The show's success came from solving real mysteries in remote locations. But finding new monsters was getting almost impossible. The biggest rivers had already given up their secrets. To find fresh stories, Wade had to go to smaller, more remote rivers. These places were often far from hospitals or help. If something went wrong, the crew could die before getting medical care. Wade knew the show was in trouble. "The danger is in repeating ourselves," he said in one interview. "If we start inventing danger, we lose the truth the show was built on." He refused to fake drama or create false excitement. Longtime fans started noticing that some episodes featured fish they had seen before. The show sometimes returned to old locations or similar species. This made people think Wade was running out of monsters to catch. But the truth was much worse than running out of monsters. The real problem was that many of the monsters were disappearing forever. At the same time, Animal Planet was changing. In 2016, the network decided to focus on family-friendly shows. They wanted programs about pets and cute animals. not dangerous expeditions. River Monsters was one of their most expensive shows to make, and executives wanted to cut costs. Network bosses started questioning Wade's expensive trips. Proposals that used to get approved quickly now faced budget cuts and restrictions. The excitement about big expeditions was replaced by worried discussions about money and safety. On April 23, 2017, River Monsters returned for what would be its final season, but never talked about how quickly they were dying. He felt like the show was lying to viewers by not showing the environmental destruction happening everywhere. I feared the series might unintentionally glamorize these waters without giving viewers the full truth about the threats they faced, Wade admitted. Ending the show was partly his way of avoiding sending a false message to fans. With all these secrets finally revealed, Wade's story changed completely. What looked like a normal end to a successful show was actually a decision forced by environmental disaster, safety concerns, and moral responsibility. After River Monsters ended, Wade didn't just retire. Instead, he started a new mission focused on saving rivers instead of catching monsters. In 2018, he returned with Mighty Rivers, a show that investigated the health of important river systems around the world. This new show was completely different. Instead of hunting monsters, Wade explored how pollution, overfishing, and dams were destroying river ecosystems. Each episode focused on a specific river like the Ganges, Amazon, Mississippi, and Danube. The tone was more serious and urgent. Wade became an environmental investigator rather than a monster hunter. He used science and interviews to show why fish populations were disappearing and how environmental damage was spreading without most people noticing. In 2019, Wade continued this work with Dark Waters, exploring threats like invasive species and ecological collapse. His question had changed from, "What monster could be hiding here?" to, "What's happening to this river, and why isn't anyone paying attention?" Even though Wade never called himself an environmental activist, his new shows clearly showed he was, speaking for dying ecosystems. Fans noticed the emotional weight in these later series. The real monsters weren't the fish anymore. They were pollution, collapsing food chains, and disappearing habitats. These new threats were more complex and more dangerous than any single creature. While River Monsters sparked curiosity about nature, Wade's new work focused on the urgent health crisis facing rivers worldwide. Now at 69, Wade has finally told the complete truth about why River Monsters really ended. It wasn't because he ran out of monsters to catch. It was because the monsters were being killed faster than he could find them. It was because his crew was facing deadly danger in every episode. And it was because he couldn't keep lying to fans about the environmental disaster happening in every river he visited. Wade kept these secrets for 7 years to protect people from the awful truth. But now he says the world needs to know what's really happening to our rivers and the amazing creatures that live in them. The monsters are disappearing forever, and if we don't act soon, they'll only exist in old episodes of River Monsters. The 69-year-old Jeremy Wade finally broke his silence because he realized that hiding the truth wasn't helping anyone. The real story behind River Monsters' cancellation is a warning about what we're doing to our planet. And according to Wade, it's getting worse every day. What do you think about Jeremy Wade finally telling the truth about River Monsters?